Hey friends! All right, let's talk about horoscope charts for projects that you're working on, your home, your business, any of that stuff. Let's talk about that and let's talk about what it can do for you and why it's important. And I will make a confession in a minute. And I apologize for my hair. This is called I was at soccer practice for 2 hours in a windstorm. In case you want to copy it, that's the official name. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I want to talk about something specific called Planetary Return because this is one of my favorite things to check for. I think it's super exciting and fun. And so I want to explain that to you. But I also want to talk about why doing charts for um, more than just your natal chart, but doing it for other things is really important and beneficial and what that can do for you and some ways that you can do that. So you can make a chart for your home. You can make a chart for your car. You can make a chart for like a project that you're working on if you've got something going on, for your business. All of those things. And the cool thing about those charts is you don't need to know what time they started. All right, people ask me that too, like, what would be the official time my business started? Who the heck remembers that or knows that, or how do you even calculate that? But if you can find the day, if you can pinpoint the date that you started something, that can make a big difference. And you can now have a chart for something that you have going on, which is really cool because you can check the planets and how they line up currently and in the future. So that would be called a forecast with the thing that you're comparing it to. So much like you do with your natal chart where you look at it and you like learn all this cool information, you can also forecast that information based on your chart forward and compare the positions of the planets and all the stars and the moon and the sun, and you can compare that with future, right? You can say, well, this will be here and this will be here, and this is what we know for a fact, and this is how we compare that stuff. And the same is true with everything. So let's say you're going to start your own business. You're going to really take it up a notch. You're going to like dive into this new chapter of a new business, or you're going to write a book, or you have this big project that you're working on around the house or whatever. If you look at the date you started and you just quickly write that down, or you look at a few possible dates, you can then get charts done for that to see when the best time to do certain things are. So I do this obviously for myself, but also for my business. So what you can do is you can see, when certain planets are in line with each other, what's the best time to act on something, to do something, to go for something. Make sense? So there are so many ways that you can do this. You can do a natal chart for stuff if you want to. Like you can do a natal chart for your car or project, business, whatever. You can do a natal chart for all that stuff, and it'll kind of make sense. It'll be written as if it's for a person. But if you want to just have some place to start, you can do that. And what you'll learn is really about like the position of the planets and what means what in relation to like people, to money, to making decisions, and you can gain a lot of great information from that. So you can do it that way, and you can do that for free. Or you can get a chart done by an astrologer, and what you'd want to look at is either a forecast chart or getting a transit chart. Okay, so what those would do would they like compare, let me read this to you so that I get like the terminology on point and right for you. So let's see. Astrological transits are one of the main means used in horoscopic astrology to forecast future trends and developments. Let's see. As its name implies, astrological transits involve a method of interpreting the ongoing movement of the planets as they transit the horoscope. So as the planets move, we know they move, they're very predictable. They move in a pattern, right? As they move through your chart, what does that mean for you? Okay. So if you're going to take on a kitchen remodel at your house and you run the chart for both yourself and then for your home, if you know the day you moved into your house, the day that your house was officially done or built or whatever, the day that you became the owner of your home, if you know that, you can compare those things and in transit see if this is a good idea, right? Hey, Jamie, you can be like, is this the right time for me to do this? Now, if the planets line up and they transit to a place where instead of starting the project on, I don't know, May 25th, the planets would line up way better if you started it May 29th. To me, that's a no-brainer. I'm going to do May 29th, right? Like, if you can look at that and gain that information, that is really, really valuable, right? I try to look at astrology, and I know I've said this before, but I want to keep driving this point home. It's like watching the weather before you go out for the day. It's information on how you might want to dress, if you might want to plan a certain activity for today, or if you might maybe want to do that one tomorrow, right? If, I was looking at days to go apple picking. That's a big thing here in New England, and it's the season for it right now. And so I was trying to find a day that was like cooler weather, that was not raining and was not hurricane gusts of winds like we're having today. And so I looked. Now, if I went on a different day, it doesn't mean that like the apple picking wouldn't happen or something disastrous would happen or it would be terrible, but I'm going to pick a day to go apple picking that seems forecasted for the best possible experience. So it's the same with astrology. So if you're going to do something, you're going to launch a business, you're going to start a big project, you're going to want to check into this so you can see the transits to see how they're moving through your chart or how they're moving through the chart for your home or your business, and then make a decision based on that with all the information you have. Mercury retrograde is an astrological event that happens that, it's a trendy topic. People know about it. Honestly, I think that Mars retrograde, it affects people even more. I won't go into that today, but it's just a trendy one, and it's one that really causes an effect on our planet, and so people know about it, and so people say it, and people blame it for everything. I do, even if it's clearly my fault. I will definitely blame Mercury retrograde, right? But just think about it. If you know a Mercury retrograde is coming up, it doesn't mean you don't talk to anyone, or you refuse to sign a contract that's due in that 4-week span or whatever, right? It just means that you're going to know that information. And when you go to communicate with other humans, or you go and you have to sign some kind of a contract, or if you're thinking about buying a big purchase in that time, and you need to do it in that time, you're going to just pay extra careful attention to any kind of form of communication then, right? And any kind of electronic device, knowing it has a better chance of stuff going wrong or getting misinterpreted in a Mercury retrograde. So it's the same for all the transits and all the way the planets move. One other thing that I want to tell you about is called Planetary Return. So I'm going to read this too. So forgive me for reading, but I really want to make sure that I get the terminology on point exactly right for you. So let's see. So a planetary return is a kind of transit. And what that means is a transiting planet returns to the same point in the sky that it occupied at the moment of a person's birth. Okay? So let's say Saturn was right here, and Saturn came and returned to right there again. That would be a planetary return. All right. So what this means is that the planet has completed a whole circuit of the sky, and it signifies that a new cycle in a person's life is beginning. The most significant returns are those of the outer planets, Jupiter and Saturn. Jupiter return occurs approximately every 12 years and heralds a new phase of growth and development, and a Saturn return occurs approximately every 30 years and heralds a new phase in the aging process. What? When new realities and responsibilities must be faced. Okay? So if you can look and see when your planetary returns are happening, if you're looking at those transits, that's going to give you great information. I think we should be holding planetary return parties, right? Especially for the ones like Saturn and Jupiter that are every 15 or 30 years, and they have such a big effect on us. If we can look at that and we can know when those are coming and we can celebrate those days, that's really exciting. That's a big deal. And you can know, okay, a new chapter is coming for me. So this is a great time for me to do something new in line with the energy of whichever planet is transiting. Now, it's the planets that travel around faster, transit and planetary return much more often. Still good to know. It's good to know what planet is returning to that place at your exact moment of birth. And that same thing can be applied to anything, to your business, to your home, to any of those things. Okay. So I like you to know that. I like you to try to think about that and to look at ways that you can apply that. I very much recommend finding an astrologer. There are lots of great resources online, even if you want to pay for a report on a reputable website. I encourage you to do that because it's more information that exists that you can use to your benefit. Okay, and so I told you at the beginning I was going to make a confession, so I'm going to make the confession now. I used to have 3 different apps on my phone about astrology. And one of them was my favorite. It's called Time Passages, and you can get it if you want. And there were so much information, and it was like, it went through each transit every day for me. It was like, it did the horoscope, the sun sign, the rising sign, the moon sign. It described all of it, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And then and I had that plus 2 others, and that doesn't even count my moon app that I have. Which Jamie, I think I saw it that you had it, and I copied the one that you had, which I love that moon one. Let me see what that's called so I can tell you. It was just called Moon. This is what it looks like. Let's see if you can see it on my, poor cracked phone. So, can you see that? So let me put it closer to the light. How can I get you to see? So it shows you the moon and exactly what it looks like. And then it tells you like, waning crescent 4%, new moon in 27 days, full moon in 13 days. And then you have the picture, of exactly what the moon is appearing as right now. I love that app. So the 3 apps didn't even include that one. And I had all these apps and I was always reading and checking, and I got into like obsession overload with it. Like I was too checking it because I would check it for myself. I would check it for my business. I would check it for my kids. I would check it for my husband. I would check it for anybody who I was coming into contact with. And it became too much. So I just want to tell you that take this information and find a good balance. I'm now hunting for a simpler app. So when I find the one that I like the best, I'm trying out a few. I will post it for you so that you can try it out too. I don't like to just know my sun sign, which is what most horoscopes do. I like to have the other ones. I like to know my moon sign. As you can see, I feel very connected to the moon lately. I have this shirt says nothing phases me. Get it? Get it? And my moon necklace on. Yeah, I love it. I feel very connected to the moon lately, so I'm just going with it. So I like to know other things, and I like to have like a snapshot of all of it for my day. And it's hard to find an app that doesn't give you way too much information or not enough information. So my warning in this to you and my confession is just find a balance with learning this stuff and knowing it. I would say at the beginning of every year, go in and get your report for the year, get your yearly forecast. It's really helpful. And then each month, just look through, take a peek at it, check it out, see what it says there. And then it's also fun to look back. Like if you look back a few months and you're like, oh yeah, that totally did happen. Oh, I saw that coming. Oh my goodness. It's really fun. And it's great information to have to just make the best decision you possibly can, right? We live in this crazy world with all this stuff going on. I don't know about you, but the universe keeps throwing me stuff and I'm like, where the heck did that come from? And I'm like as intuitive as it gets, right? So if I can have more information to use to understand my world and to make the best decisions and to put myself in the best place possible, I'm going to do it. And so I encourage you to do that too. Talk more about astrology. I feel like people think it's very woohoo, and it's really not. There is a science behind it. Really. It's called astronomy, right? There is science to this, and this is not made up things. And I don't really know anyone whose natal chart anyways is not like on point. There may be a couple of things that you don't completely identify with, but for the most part, that crazy detailed report it's magical. It's such a great tool to understand yourself better. And if you can kind of have those reports, and you can buy them the yearly forecasts or the monthly forecasts, and they even have transits. I think they're like 14-day transits that you can check, almost like a 14-day weather forecast or something, which are great too. I really like those. So you can kind of see like what's right in front of you. There are all kinds of different ones. Astrology Cafe has a bunch of them. I don't know if they're all free, but if you search around the internet, you can find a bunch of different ones. But if you find a good astrologer, if I find one, I'll post the person's name. I just don't personally know anyone. I have someone who I used to use who unfortunately doesn't do it anymore. So I would recommend you her. But go online and get them and use them to help you put little notes, for different signs in your planner, so you know what's coming up, and just have kind of an idea of what each planet and what sign in its position kind of does for your life. All right. It can really, really help you out. All right, go forth, enjoy the crazy energy. Oh my goodness, from all this weather that we're having right now. I mean, there's earthquakes and hurricanes and tropical storms, and it's a lot. So solar flares, right? All kinds of things. So if you're experiencing this crazy energy, hang in there. It seems to me like we've at least crossed over that hump of it still building. And I know someone posted today, I think it was Heather Marie who posted it, where the thing about people who are sensitive to weather. And I always have been. I remember my mom used to have one of those barometers on the wall. I think it's called a barometer. And it was like this pretty glass thing. And there was like bright green. I think she had a bright blue one too, liquid in it. It would rise and fall. Oh my goodness. I wouldn't even look at it, and I would just be able to tell what it was doing based on the way my body felt. And it's not even always, necessarily bad. It's just like feeling. So I almost feel, like everything is like almost swollen or inflamed a little bit. And it doesn't appear though. I don't think it appears that way, but it's sort of that feeling with this kind of weather going on. And I always feel stuff emotionally as it's coming. And then once it's here, I feel the physical effects in my body. And then sometimes even after it leaves, I'll still have those physical effects going on, especially when it has to do with like pressure and stuff. So if you're feeling all of that stuff, you're not alone. Most empaths are sensitive to weather amongst everything else in the world. Right? So hang in there. Do some great self-care if you can. See if you can make some extra time for that while this is going on. Really, really helpful to do things like that. And just make sure you're really focusing on keeping your energy grounded, even more so than you usually have to. All right. So, energy down through your feet, bring it down and shoot it through your legs. If you can go outside and put your feet on the ground. If you can lay on the ground and just like star position it, laying on the earth, that's going to help you tremendously. If you're like me and you just kind of want to put a blanket down because like ants crawling on you and bugs are not your jam, you can do that too. Same effect. Put your feet in the grass, your toes right in there. All of that stuff will help ground your energy, and that will help big time. Okay. All right. Go forth. Have an excellent, excellent night. Thanks for listening to me talk about astrology. I love this stuff. And we have one more astrology lesson next week, and then we are moving on to all things dreams next month for October. So stay tuned for that. See you guys later. Have a great night. Bye.